Stan the Man statue outside Busch Stadium on a steamy night here in St. Louis. Game number 4 between the Houston Astros and the St. Louis Cardinals. The new look Cardinals. Octavio Dotel is here. Mark Zepchinski is here as well. How about tomorrow's starter Edwin Jackson? And Corey Patterson is in the starting lineup tonight for the Redbirds in right field. And with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Baseball Tonight here on Fox Sports Midwest. And really, it is the new look Cardinals.
Yeah, and let's get the pitching staff straight here. The new 5 starters are the same 4 guys with Edwin Jackson. He replaces Kyle McClellan, who moves over to the bullpen. He'll be the second left-hander of sorts in that bullpen, as Raul Valdez was optioned out today, along with Zepchinski, who has very, very good numbers against left-handed batters.
Starting pitching tonight, pair of lefties, Jaime Garcia and Wandy Rodriguez. Houston, St. Louis, baseball from Busch coming up. Baseball tonight, Houston and St. Louis. If you have a question for us in our telecast tonight, go to carsoup.com/Cardinals. Send us your email, the booth questions. Up next, a look at Jaime Garcia.
Finale against the Astros, coming off a win in Pittsburgh. Garcia's been outstanding at home. ERA of 1.14, 6-1. Outstanding late movement, and he gets the nod tonight. Closing in on our first pitch from Garcia. More from Busch after this.
Tonight, still resting that sore shoulder, but that won't stop us here at Fox Sports Midwest from flashing back to Berkman's greatest career home run, which is now hardly remembered thanks to his current teammate Albert Pujols. Pat Paris takes us back to 2005.
The Astros are the oldest MLB franchise to stay in the same city without a world championship. It took them 19 seasons to put together a playoff team, but in 3 trips to the postseason from 1980 to 1986, they suffered heartbreaking loss after heartbreaking loss. It took them another 18 years to make it past the first round of the playoffs, thanks to the years of hard work from the Killer Bees, Craig Biggio, Jeff Bagwell, and Lance Berkman. In 2004, the Astros endured another gut-wrenching playoff loss, falling to the Cardinals in the NLCS in 7 games. But in 2005, it was a different story. The 2 teams were back, and Houston, up 3-1, was hanging tough against the eventual Cy Young winner, Chris Carpenter. Carpenter made very few mistakes in 2005. Berkman took advantage of one of them.
The pitch to Berkman, a swing and a ball, hit deep left field, it is gone! A 3-run homer, Lance Berkman, and it's 4-2 Astros.
Berkman has over 350 career home runs, but he says that home run was the most memorable.
It was a great moment because the fans went nuts. It looked like we were probably going to go to the World Series at that point because we went from 1 run down to having a 2-run lead, and we had a great bullpen. So I remember rounding those bases thinking this is kind of a dream come true.
It seemed for a moment like Berkman's home run had made the dreams come true. But the nearly 44,000 fans on hand learned that dreams can quickly turn into nightmares. Closer Brad Lidge got 2 quick strikeouts in the ninth, but after putting 2 runners on, Albert Pujols came to bat and did what he does best.
Then a slider is hit to deep left field, and this ball is gone! Albert Pujols hit it up above the seats, above the train tracks, off the glass in deep left field, and the Cardinals have taken the lead 5-4 in the 9th inning. Unbelievable!
Pujols' home run made a footnote of Berkman's greatest major league moment just 2 innings earlier. And just like in 2004, Lance Berkman and the Astros sensed their dreams of finally making it to the World Series would not come true.
It was just disappointing for sure. So all I was thinking about was, we blew our opportunity to go to the World Series. We just we had it and lost it, and you go from the highest high to the lowest low that you can imagine.
Berkman and the Astros would get the last laugh. Houston shook off the effects of their Game 5 loss and won their first and only National League pennant. Berkman still considers his NLCS home run off Carpenter to be the greatest moment of his career. But the way the 35-year-old continues to hammer the baseball, there may be an even greater moment for Lance yet to come.
Just right taste of Bud Light with the refreshing splash of 100% natural lime flavor. By Chevy, see your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. Steamy night here in St. Louis. Glad you're with us. Along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin, our entire Fox Sports Midwest crew. And one of the newest Cardinals is in the lineup tonight playing right field. That's Corey Patterson. He'll bat 8th in the lineup for Tony La Russa. Let's meet the lineup for Houston. They'll try to even up the series with a win today. Michael Bourne, Altuve, what an impression he's made so far. Then Bourgeois, Pence, Lee, Johnson, Barmes, Corporon, and Wandy Rodriguez. Jaime Garcia, 10-4, and a look at his scouting report.
The most dominant pitcher in baseball at home, 6-1, low ERA, late movement, always a key for Jaime. And he's been very consistent. 7 of his last 8 starts, giving up 2 earned runs or less. He has just been on time every time.
So Garcia trying to pick up win number 11 here tonight. And the defense behind Garcia, let's take a look. Brought to you by Dobbs with Holiday, Jay, and Patterson in the outfield. Freeze, Terrio, Punto, and Pujols along the infield. Gerald Laird gets the start behind the plate, and Garcia is on the mound. The Cardinals start playing tonight. Half game back of Milwaukee for first place in the Central. Pittsburgh, 1 game back of St. Louis in third. So here is Michael Bourne. You have to respect his great speed. 38 steals, 27 infield hits, and the first pitch is a strike. He also has a 12-game hitting streak on the line here tonight. 95 degrees our game time temperature. And Bourne shoots one into left center field. This is trouble over the head of John Jay and over the wall for a ground rule double. Cardinals catch a break there. That very easily could have been a triple if it stays in play.
Fastball up from Garcia, and Bourne gets on top of it, driving it the other way over the head of John Jay. There's the location, up and away, and he gets on top of it just enough, and I believe that would have been a triple had that ball not bounced off the warning track and into the bleachers.
13-game hitting streak for Michael Bourne as they won the ball game last night in the 9th inning. Both teams late had opportunities. Cardinals couldn't cash in the 8th, and it cost them. Here's 21-year-old infielder Jose Altuve. He's tied the franchise record by hitting safely in his first 7 major league games. He's 11 for 26. He's got 7 hits in this series. David Freese playing in at third. Pujols as well over at first, and that's it out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Listed at 5'7", 170, Jose Altuve. A lot of scouts are here tonight, in particular for a couple of players. Hunter Pence, the right fielder of Houston, and also Wandy Rodriguez making the start tonight for the Astros. Runner goes, throw by Laird down to third, safe. Stolen base number 39.
Looked like the throw took a long time to develop between Laird and David Freese. A decent jump by Bourne, and tagged just a little bit late. It may have been that Laird had to wait for Freese to get back to the bag.
Playing in with Altuve at the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike. Garcia has been sensational here at home. He's been sensational against the National League Central Division.
But he has not beaten the Astros yet. 3 starts against the Astros. He's 0-2. Even though he has been, as you say, very, very tough within the division.
Cardinals really have dominated Houston this year, and the games that Houston won against St. Louis, it's been Bud Norris on the mound. 2-2. We'll do it again. Bourgeois is on deck, and then Pence, the cleanup man. With Carlos Beltran officially traded to San Francisco, next up on that outfield list as you get a look at the stolen base leaders, Michael Bourne, but next up on that potential list of guys that could be traded, Hunter Pence. For teams that need outfield help. The 2-2. Here's a fly ball into center, plenty deep to score Michael Bourne, and Houston has a 1-0 lead. Altuve with his second RBI. 1-0 Houston here in the top of the first. He's done just about everything right in this series.
He really has. We've seen good hands from him at second base. He hasn't had too many tough plays at second, but he looks very smooth. And batting average over 400, and he has just been as really good as any Astro rookie the first 11 games in terms of the number of hits he's had. And he's pounded out a lot in this series against the Cardinals.
Here's Bourgeois. Kosuke Fukudome also was traded today from the Cubs to Cleveland, so we won't see him this weekend. Traded for prospects. Here's a ground ball left side, deep in the hole. Tough play here. Long throw, not in time. It's Terrio at short tonight, and Bourgeois can get down the line. Infield hit. Get the feeling, Rick, that the Cardinals, even though they made that deal to trade Colby Rasmus, aren't quite done just yet.
They may not be. You know, they certainly have been in the Heath Bell hunt for a long time. The bullpen really hasn't had a chance to even introduce themselves to each other yet. It certainly changed overnight, and I think changed for the better. But it's certainly possible that there's another deal. And you mentioned Hunter Pence. A lot of clubs interested in him. He can do a lot of things. He runs well. Decent outfielder. Very athletic. Has some power. He's an all-star.
Two-time all-star. Leads their club in home runs with 11 and RBIs with 62. You take him out of this lineup and you wonder outside of Carlos Lee, is there anybody that can knock it out of the ballpark?
I've been told that Ed Wade is asking for 4 prospects in return for Hunter Pence. And I think the theory is if he only gets 2 or 3, he's going to get a lot of backlash from the Houston fans that love Hunter Pence and see him as the only guy maybe worth coming to see every night. And it'll be a short-term problem if they get rid of their best player.
Runner goes again. Throw by Laird. No chance. Scoots away from Theriot, but not far enough. Number 18 for Bourgeois. Not the kind of start you envision for the Cardinals.
I think of the number of times in my backyard as a kid you'd say do-over.
This would be one of them.
Bad start for a game, just say do-over. You know, I wasn't ready. Let's start again. They don't let you do that in the big leagues.
Yeah, you just don't expect that, too, with Garcia at home on the mound and the way that he's pitched against the Central. A struggling Houston team snapped a losing streak last night. High chopper that's pulled foul. 2-2. And Rick, I know that you had some eye-popping numbers looking at the corner infielders, also power production in the outfield. It just isn't there.
Brett Wallace, who is not starting here tonight, 134 at-bats without a home run. Chris Johnson, the third baseman, 150. It's about a quarter of the season each for your corner infielders.
First strikeout for Garcia, 2 away.
And over 200 at-bats for both Bourne and Bourgeois since their last home run. That's about a half a season. So just not a lot of pop in this Astros lineup at all.
Brings in Carlos Lee. And Lee had a grand slam. Time called by Laird. They're going to walk him, potentially walk Lee, and pitch to Johnson. Now they're not. Initially he pointed forward. Now he's back behind the plate. And let's pitch to him here in the first inning. Carlos Lee's grand slam on Monday night. His 7th in an Astros uniform. All-time leader for slams in franchise history. He had 2 against P.J. Walters. P.J. now with Toronto. One pitch. 2 balls and a strike. Ball scoots away. Chance for Laird. Nice pick by Freeze. Saved a run.
It's a ball that he should have been able to handle, and maybe he got crossed up, but ball gets away from Laird. Low throw. Out talking to Garcia, and they've got some work to do to get back on track here.
Makes you think if he's out to visit that he was crossed up.
Oh yeah.
Here's another look.
Watch how he boxes this. He's looking for something and doesn't know which way to turn his glove and can't handle it. Now Garcia does have a lot of movement, which makes it kind of difficult to catch because you're expecting the ball on a corner, but I think he was looking for a ball to go right and it went left. Maybe looking for the cutter and it was a sinker.
Here's a 3-2. On the inside corner, and Carlos Lee didn't like it. Strikeout, 2 in a row for Jaime Garcia. A Houston lead after a half inning. Carlos Lee not too pleased. Strike call in the third and final out the first. He's had a couple of those in this series, those borderline strike calls that he's not been happy with. Showed his displeasure there. Nick Punto, the Cardinals second baseman, leads it off and takes a strike. Against Wandy Rodriguez, his number's a little bit misleading because of what the team has done overall with only 34 wins, but Wandy 6-7, 3.60 ERA. Last time out, Wrigley Field in Chicago. Pitched well enough to win. 2 runs on 3 hits in 7 innings. 1-1 pitch. And you hear the reports, Rick. You hear that Rodriguez could be had, Pence, certainly Carlos Lee. You wonder if you make those deals, what's left?
You may have a lot of prospects left. If you're talking about who's ready now, also talking with the Astros broadcasters, they said the AAA level right now is basically, well, the cupboard's bare. Anybody that can possibly play is here. So if you're going to go to the next level, you're going to go to AA and start getting prospects before they're ready.
Altuve makes the play. Let's take a look at the lineup for St. Louis with Punto, Jay, and Pujols, then Holiday, Freese, Laird, Terrio, Patterson, Garcia. That's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. And our scouting report for Wandy Rodriguez.
Seen a couple of curveballs already. That's Wandy Rodriguez's favorite pitch. Is he on the trading block? Yes, he is. A lot of teams interested in him. Could use his changeup a bit more. We've seen a good changeup from him. He just doesn't throw it a lot.
0-1 pitch to Jay. Taken for a ball. We talk so much, you know, can John Jay fill the shoes of a Colby Rasmus being an everyday player? Well, when you look at the numbers, he's appeared in 102 of the 104 games the Cardinals have played in. Leads the team in games played. So it's not like you're asking a guy from being a backup quarterback to being your starter.
That's right.
Rasmus, by the way, his debut tonight, he's 0 for 3.
Batting at the second spot in the order in Toronto. Find that interesting.
How is he in front of Bautista? I would assume that Bautista's hitting third. Ground ball to short. Clint Barmas 2 away. Let's take a look at the defense for Houston. Their outfield with 23 assists. Bourgeois, Bourne, and Pence. Then Johnson, Barmas, Altuve, and Lee along the infield. Wandy Rodriguez and Corcoran, the catcher, and that's presented by Dobbs.
Their defense 15th in the National League. Only Chicago Cubs have more errors than Houston. Pitching and defense, pitching and defense. That's how you win.
Pujols looks at his strike. He struck out to end the game last night. The tying runs on. He represented the winning run and struck out for the final out. 4 hits away from 2,000. Long fly ball. Right center. Will it carry out of here? It's off the wall. Pujols digging for 2. And in with a stand-up double.
Albert has started to hit the ball the other way with more authority. We've seen it over the last couple of weeks. There's that back foot, the very back of the batter's box. Lets the ball get deep in on his hands, and he just drives it the other way. Pence not able to make the play against the wall. He had a long way to run for that. That was in right center field, one of the deepest parts of the alleys here. Now Matt Holliday a chance to tie things up.
Matt 3 for 6 in the series. Couple of doubles last night. 4th time this year he's done that. A multi-hit game. He's now tied with Terrio for the team lead in multi-hit games with 27. He and John Jay the most hits this month with 22.
One of my favorite Cardinal fans, Mike Andrus, watching our telecast from Bentonville, Arkansas, celebrating his 13th birthday. Happy birthday, Mike. And Cardinals never lose when Roy Henson is at the ballpark. He threw out the first pitch here tonight, and I don't believe we've ever lost with Roy in the house.
1 ball, 1 strike here on Holiday. Houston grabbed an early 1-0 lead. Sac fly RBI by Altuve. Outfield is deep and straight away. Pujols the runner at second base. 2 outs. And Pujols on his way to third with a steal. If you're caught, it's a terrible play. If you're not, it sets up the potential of a pass ball, wild pitch, and tying the game up.
You better be safe with Matt Holliday at the plate. And he was.
3-2. Rodriguez wanted that pitch.
I think so did Carlos Lee.
The 3-2 pitch. We'll do it again. Pujols a tying run at third. Count is full here on Matt Holliday. Late with that swing and a strikeout of Holliday. Cardinals strand a runner 1-0 after 1. Three starts and he's 0-2, 5.87 ERA. And you can see that they've hit him quite well, 3.38 average. They lead it tonight 1-0 after an inning of play. And it'll be Johnson who leads it off. Now Johnson had a pretty good rookie campaign a season ago, enough that they thought he would be productive this year, but that has not been the case overall as Terrio makes the play.
I think he needs more plate discipline. We've seen him expand the strike zone. He doesn't like to walk. Well, you better learn to like to walk at this level, get on base, and then they'll start coming to you, and then you get the pitch you want. But if they know you're going to swing at a pitch that's out of the zone, why throw him a strike?
Clint Barmas homered last night. It was a 2-run shot. And we've seen him also play very well defensively here for Houston, the shortstop. Home run and a double in this series. First pitch is a strike. Cardinals 4-1 at Busch Stadium against Houston this year. When both teams joined the NL Central, which was in 1994, they're about even. This pitch is popped up. Laird.
We saw Albert in a playful mood with Bobby Meacham over there at first base, and Albert, after stealing third, was pretty playful with Oquendo. Oquendo was maybe not liking his slide at third base. It was kind of an ugly slide. He's talking to him about it, and Albert kind of jawing back at him, throws his gum at him. That'll teach you. What a great relationship those two have.
Enough that you could throw gum at him.
Yep. Well, when he was the guy that went in to the manager and said, I am staking my reputation that you need to take Pujols and put him third in the lineup now, and Jose was the only voice among the Cardinal brain trust at that time that thought Pujols was ready, because he believed in him so much as a young phenom player. We remember the spring training he had, Dan, but you think, well, let's let him develop a little bit, and he said, forget developing, put him in the lineup and bat him third. And I would say that was a pretty good move. And I think Pujols has been grateful ever since.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Still find it hard to believe. He'll tell the story that he said, I was going to give minor league baseball one year, and if I didn't make the major leagues, I've had enough. Not sure I believe that. He had a pretty good minor league year and advanced very quickly through the system.
Well, he has something in common with Jose Altuve, who I don't think is going to get the same kind of numbers that Albert has in his career, but both of them played for Tommy Lawless, infielders for Tommy Lawless as a minor league manager.
That's right. One-two pitch to Corporon. Third strikeout for Garcia. Cardinals have Freese, Laird, and Terrio coming up. We'll bring you the farm report. Brian Walton checks in on the prospects in the Cardinals farm system. Head to FoxSportsMidwest.com for the farm report. Wandy Rodriguez pitched out of trouble in the first.
And speaking of Cardinal prospects, I'm happy, and maybe a lot of Cardinal fans are, that we haven't had to see some of those prospects go here this week. Cardinals have shored up their bullpen without having to get rid of some of the guys that we're looking forward to seeing 2 or 3 or 4 years down the road. Shelby Miller, Martinez, Tyrell Jenkins, Swaggerty, Blair, good arms in the minor leagues that we may see down the road, and they're still Cardinals.
Here's the 0-2 pitch now to David Freese. Wants it inside, up the middle. Altuve gets to it, throws to first, and what a play. Outstanding play by the rookie Altuve.
I think I said we have not seen him make a great play yet. We've seen him make routine plays. Well, I'm going to chalk this up as a great play. Dive, off-balance throw. David Freese obviously not able to run 100% right now.
Boy, what a play. David dealing with that hamstring. Altuve was in Double-A just about a week ago. But he has made quite the impression at the plate. Plays like that defensively. Here's Gerald Laird, the 0-1 pitch. I'm sure the fans of the Astros are saying, how do you go from being a perennial powerhouse in this division for a number of years to dropping as far as they have, to the point of what you're talking about, Rick, which is no prospects at AAA and certainly struggling at this level. Houston only 34-70.
I'm just not sure they had enough forethought as an organization that their aging players were in fact aging and wouldn't be around forever. I think you kind of just get excited about the Bagwell, Biggio, Ausmus, Berkman train, and you just keep riding it, Oswalt, and you just think it's going to last forever, and you just don't plan well enough to say, look, we're going to have to get enough young talent around them to be the next star of the future. And I just don't think they developed enough good players during that period. And then once you get in a negative spiral, it's hard to get out of it.
And the bullpen did have some turnover, but when they had turnover, they had a guy like Brad Lidge. Dotel would take over for Wagner. All those things came into play. Up the middle, Altuve won't get to that one. It's a base hit. Cardinals Alumni Kids Clinics are coming to Chesterfield Tuesday, August 2nd and Thursday, August 4th. Boys and girls ages 7 to 13 can learn baseball fundamentals from Cardinal greats. For more information, visit cardinals.com/clinics. Rick will be there with bells on, ready to help out.
Actually not going to make that one, but I love those Cards Kids Clinics. Doing them for years. Very good product, Dan. Can't go wrong.
You know how much you love being around the young people. It's you've said that it keeps you young. Corey Patterson is on deck. He is the 8th place hitter, getting a start in right field tonight. Hopefully Berkman back by tomorrow night. Dealing with a cortisone shot.
Kind of a big hole, isn't it? Not having Lance Berkman?
Sure is. And you can tell in the middle of this lineup the difference that it makes if one of the big three are out. Same thing you used to say with Edmonds, Roland, and Pujols. Say the same thing now with the big three that the Cardinals have, and it's one of the reasons why John Mozeliak pulled the trigger on the deal. Win now with those big three still under contract this year. Terrio. Oh, Altuve missed it. What could have been a double play. Instead, runners at first and second, and it extends the inning to Patterson. An error on Altuve.
He's human.
You do give the assist to the third baseman, but an error on the play.
Which makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
That's the official scoring, though, on that play. I agree with you.
I understand, but
yeah,
you assisted what?
That's my point, too. You didn't get the out. Nice round of applause for Corey Patterson. The well-traveled Corey Patterson now. Former first-round pick, Chicago Cubs. Patterson, ground ball, base hit. Into right. Pence's throw. Not in time. It gets away. Here comes another run. Cardinals lead it. Rodriguez backing up, but not on the right side. In doing so, the throw gets away from the catcher. 2-run score, and it's 2-1.
Early dividends from Corey Patterson. Just a ground ball. That's a pretty good pitch right there. Curveball down and away. Takes it to right field. It's an RBI. There's a throw from Pence. And it short hops the catcher. And where is the pitcher? Not where he needs to be.
It's an error on Hunter Pence. The throw, so 2 errors in the inning. And the Cardinals have their first lead. It's 2-1. Here's Garcia. Now Altuve's error looms large now. Instead of being out of the inning with a 1-0 lead, still only 1 out, trailing 2-1.
We mentioned 15th in the league in defense, the Astros.
Runner goes, Patterson, and he is out. Trying to steal, left-handed bat. Slid right into the tag. Nice round of applause, though, for Corey Patterson.
I like that stolen base attempt more than I liked Albert's, considering the situation. Just 1 out at the time. You're trying to get to third base, even though the pitcher is at the plate. And you've got the opportunity to do a squeeze, perhaps. Garcia can put the ball in play, maybe drive in a run.
Trying to steal third with a left-handed bat. Much easier throw for the catcher in that regard.
No doubt.
And Garcia breaks his bat to Carlos Lee, but the Cardinals grab a lead. 2-1 after 2, thanks to Corey Patterson. Baseball is brought to you by Stadium Sports Bar and Grill. They have changed the game, located at Lumiere Place Casinos and Hotels. And by the State of Missouri Tobacco Quit Line. Call 1-800-QUIT now. Gerald Laird is out of the ball game, and Tony Cruz takes over behind the plate.
Laird did have a very awkward slide at home plate, scoring the first Cardinal run. Actually looks like he gets his left hand on the shoe, on the cleat, and then it stretches out his shoulder. All kinds of potential for injury, but I think he hit his left hand on the cleat of the catcher.
And remember, he sacrificed in Kansas City with a bunt play that broke bones on his hand, so you wonder if that's, you know, something that has been re-aggravated with that slide. Could be. We'll get official word, I'm sure, before this telecast is through. Here is Wandy Rodriguez. First time through the lineup. First 8 at least for Garcia. He has struck out 3. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rodriguez here, and then Bourne and Altuve. Both runs unearned against Rodriguez. Misplay by Altuve on a double play that would have gotten them out of the inning. And then a real tough error on Hunter Pence with a pretty strong throw to the plate that led to 2 runs. But Rodriguez was not in position where he should have been backing up the play. Terrio, 1 away. A base hit to right. Wandy Rodriguez, as you know, Rick, being a former pitcher, you're going towards the third base line on a potential throw to the plate.
The idea is, if you're not sure whether the play is going to be at third or home, you go halfway and then see the play develop. But the idea is to get at least 10 yards beyond the base where you expect the throw to go to, and when in doubt, pick the furthest base, which is normally home, and because that's the one where you want to protect against somebody advancing to at all costs. And we've seen it happen a couple of times where even in this series, Mitchell Boggs, the ball get away from him because it hit the on-deck batter, Bourgeois, who was out helping the first runner slide in. But if the pitcher's not in the right position, and we've seen that, in fact, way too much this year, where guys weren't, you can cost yourself a run.
Michael Bourne, 28 infield base hits. Let's get another look at what you're talking about here, Rick.
All right, there's first and second. They hit the right. He may be actually going to cover first base, which is part of the problem because he's not able to get back in time. So give him a little bit of a break there and the benefit of the doubt that he's got first priority to cover first if that ball is caught by the second baseman or the first baseman. So understandable.
Keep an eye on Bourne. He already has a steal tonight. That bunt base hit to go along with a leadoff double extended his hitting streak to 13. Here's Altuve. Well, they went after Gerald Laird. Let's see if they go after Tony Cruz. Here's the 0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. I don't know if you noticed, Rick, but there's a movie coming out.
Just popped into my head for some reason, and I'm not sure why. A little subliminal influence there.
Out of play and into the seats. Here's a ground ball. Can they turn 2? Out at second. Double play turned by Nick Punto, the second baseman tonight. to MLB.tv, and you'll see every Cardinals game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Cardinals.com to order. Get more details. MLB.tv. Baseball is everywhere. Chicago Cubs will be in town tomorrow as Punto hits it back to Rodriguez. Edwin Jackson and Matt Garza. It'll be at 6:30. Will come your way. The Cubs and Cardinals tomorrow here from Busch Stadium.
Always a lot of time in the clubhouse, in the dugout, to chat. Just kind of hang out with the boys. That's one of the great things about the game. People always talk to retired players about, do you miss competing? And the classic answer is no.
Miss the camaraderie.
But I sure do miss hanging out.
Yep. There's a strike to John Jay.
I guess that's like college, though. Everybody misses college except for the studying.
There's some similarities between college and playing professional baseball.
I would say there is.
Least of which is studying.
Well, you have to study the other team every once in a while.
In the center, and it drops in for a base hit, and it's pass borne into the... Well, it's going to stop right there. It's going to stop at second base, but John Jay into center field, pass borne, and all the way to the wall.
Bourne is really struggling defensively in this series. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Ball hit hard by John Jay right on the line. Nice at bat for the Cardinal center fielder, and it just scoots past Bourne. He just didn't really get a good angle on that. We talked about the fact that this new turf would be quicker, and that looked a little bit like an AstroTurf bounce past Bourne. I almost think that the whole field issue has gotten in the head of the Astros, and really it's not that big a deal, but they're making it one.
Now Pujols doubled first time up. But you're right, Rick. He's really taken some odd routes to some of these baseballs that have been hit. And he was playing fairly deep for John Jay, too. Pujols 3 hits shy of 2,000.
From our angle, Dan, initially, that ball looked like it was hit straight to Bourne. And somehow the ball scooted past it, which means he just absolutely took the wrong route.
Left ring finger, a sprain for Gerald Laird. That's why he is out of the ballgame. Pujols is 10 for 41 against Wandy Rodriguez. So left ring finger, a sprain.
And you wouldn't want to be catching with one of those.
1 out runner at second. 2 balls and no strikes. Pujols, his 23rd home run last night. 431st of his career. Or I should say in this series. 2-0 pitch in there for a strike. 2-1. It's 3 away from 39th place, which would tie him with Juan Gonzalez. Two and two. Juan Gonzalez went to spring training with the Cardinals and wasn't heard from again. Didn't make the club, and that was it. One of those guys that was overlooked. 2-2 the count on Pujols.
What is going on with the Cincinnati Reds? They just can't pitch anymore. 10-9. They lose to the Mets.
2-2. Pujols base hit into right. Slicing down the right field line. Run will score. Albert on his way to second base. The throw is cut off, and he's in with his second double of the night. Think about some of the defensive miscues already, Ricky, early on in this game. We've seen a lot in this 4-game series by Houston.
Yeah, we really have. They missed a double play early on and missed ball after it's poked into the right field corner by Albert and fielded by Pence. He makes a strong throw. He has a lot of assists, and it's cut off by the second baseman. I'm not sure they would have had a chance to get Albert, but it would have been close.
Career hits. Pujols now 2 away from 2,000, and Ryan Howard 3 away from 1,000. 2 of the game's best sluggers in the National League. Here's Holiday. Out of play for strike 1. It's also RBI number 63 for Pujols. Holiday struck out swinging. Runner at second base. Back in the first inning, 0 for 1.
Like to see him get on track. He's been late with a lot of swings. Hasn't been comfortable. But when he gets comfortable, he can stay locked in for a long time, too. All you got to do is just keep having at bats, and sooner or later it's going to come around when you've got as much ability as Matt Holliday.
Three and 1. Another big crowd tonight, even though it's very, very hot here at the ballpark. Still good seats remaining for all 3 games against the Cubs this weekend.
Not a bad time to nibble here for Wandy. 3-1 count to Holiday. Even if he's not swinging the bat well, he can hurt you and really break the game open for the Cardinals. You've got David Freese up next. Certainly a potential double play candidate with the bad hamstring.
The 3-2 pitch. Inside. So after Rodriguez got the first man, Puto, back-to-back doubles by Jay and Pujols, walk to Holiday, and here's David Freese. Through 5 innings in Toronto, Colby Rasmus is 0 for 4. The Jays lead the Orioles 8-4. First walk issued by Wandy Rodriguez. Here's David Freese, who was robbed his first time up. If he's running at 100%, probably would have been a base hit, but Altuve took it away. Cardinals with a 3-1 lead as we play here in the bottom of the 3rd. Here's the 0-1 pitch.
First pitch strikes. It's something we like to focus on. Normally that's an indication of a pitcher having a nice outing, but 13 out of 15 for Rodriguez. Maybe there's something to the second pitch strikes.
Time called as Rodriguez has really slowed things down.
Wandy Heriberto Rodriguez. 32 years of age. He's from the Dominican Republic. He is on the trading block at this point, has a contract that actually he would have an option to renew, so, and it's got a pretty good price too. So if he gets taken by another team, they are taking on Rodriguez for a couple of years.
And I believe that Hunter Pence is signed beyond this year for a couple of seasons, and that's one of the reasons why Ed Wade has said not only are you getting a two-time All-Star, but you're also getting financial security when you pick him up. 2-2. Double play ball. Out at second. Out at first. As Holiday went hard into Barmes. 4-6-3 on the double play. Compliments of Coke Zero and Walmart. That weekend, the Cardinals take on the Rockies. So the Build-A-Bear weekend, giveaways all 3 nights. Daniel Descalso takes over at second base. Nick Punto lifted for the game. We don't know why. Ricky Weeks, speaking of guys that can help out on the infield, well, he is out 3 to 6 weeks. Ankle injury. Now Doug Melvin is forced to try to shore up that defense, which has really been a problem for Milwaukee, especially at short, but now Weeks is hurt at second.
Yeah, he was hustling, trying to beat out a hit in the infield and actually tripped over the bag and took a big header, and that's a big loss for Milwaukee. Bad in the lineup. He does strike out a lot, but very, very talented player and hard guy to replace.
Complicates what Doug Melvin was looking to do too. He was trying to shore up his team defensively on the infield, in particular at short, but now you have to look at second base as well. Here's a broken bat. Bourgeois is retired for the first out. Looks like Garcia's starting to settle in.
You know he's settling in when he starts to get the ground balls, and an inning-ending double play in the 3rd inning from Altuve. Now a ground ball for out number 1 here in the 4th. And Hunter Pence struck out his first plate appearance, and he has really hurt the Cardinals a number of times in his career. They seem to make a lot of mistakes with him.
High chopper and trouble for Freese. He won't get it. Holiday over to cut it off. Pence is thinking 2. And in with a double. No chance for David Freese. And a little bit of a bobble out in left field by Holiday, and Pitts easily into second base.
The bobble actually happened on the transition, results in a high throw. Cardinals kind of fortunate there that Descalzo was able to catch that ball, because if that got over his head, might have gone into right field.
Now Carlos Lee, a couple of times, even after his first at bat, spoke to the home plate umpire going out to his position, also coming back in. Home plate umpire is the crew chief, Jim Reynolds. Mike DeMuro at first, Corey Blazer at second, Andy Fletcher down at third.
He didn't seem to be too animated, the conversations. He was trying to get his point across, and looks like they're good friends now, Dan.
Cordial.
I think he's trying to influence, is what he's trying to do. A little gamesmanship, perhaps.
Pulled foul. Craig Counsell started today at second base for Milwaukee. Felipe Lopez was a AAA for the Rays, and apparently he's been picked up by Milwaukee. Flip is back in the Central. Hard hit past David Freese and out to left. Pence rounding third, and he will score. Throw is cut off by David Freese, and it cuts the lead to 3-2. Carlos Lee picks up RBI number 59.
Yeah, there's your RBI machine at work again. This is just a ground ball hit, but it's hit hard. Late break for Hunter Pence, but he has enough speed to score easily.
Rick, if you're Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan at this point, even though it's midway in the game and you've got a guy that has been terrific at home, first base open against this lineup, do you think about pitching around Lee and just saying, hey, we'll take our chances with Johnson, who's at the plate here?
The only reason I don't like that is I think if you've got the lead, you send the wrong message to your starting pitcher that let's start being a little defensive. And I'd rather have him just go right at Lee. Now, you're not going to throw a pitch right down the middle, but I don't like the idea of walks when you have the lead.
That gets by Cruz. And Lee on his way to third. Throw there is not in time. Sloppy on both ends tonight.
Well, Cruz can't find this ball, Dan, but who's helping him find it? You know, the umpire's not going to tell him where it is. The pitcher's got to do that. Somebody's got to communicate to Tony Cruz loudly. And maybe they were trying, but certainly he didn't get the message. So Carlos Lee has the opportunity to lumber all the way around the bases from first to third.
Strained left oblique, we understand, for Nick Punto. That's why he left the game. 2 balls and no strikes.
What's going on?
And this game is at least tied up. Holiday makes the catch, tagging up Carlos Lee from third, and it's 3-3.
That pitch not very sharp from Garcia, kind of hung in the middle part of the plate. Nice play by Matt Holliday. Could have been worse.
Here's Clint Barmes, who popped out to second, and that pitch is fouled back. 3-3 game here in the top of the fourth, and neither team has been sharp tonight defensively. Here's the 0-1 pitch. If you're thinking about a guy to shore up your defense, Barmes might be that too. Now, he's not exceptional, but he's looked good in this series.
some of the Astros folks are a little surprised that Arizona hasn't made a run at Barmes. They have shortstop problems with Stephen Drew being hurt. And at least at this point, they haven't shown any interest. They're just going with Bloomquist. But you've got to believe that Barmes would be an upgrade there.
And the 1-2 is a pitch that's up and driven into left center for a base hit. Wide turn by Barmes. He'll stop at first. 3 hits in the inning against Garcia.
Not very sharp tonight. Well, these are the games, though, Dan, you just got to hang on. Keep competing. Try to find a way to win the game, especially the breaking balls. That one there just kind of sat up in the middle of the plate. Might have been a cutter, but it just kind of spun in the middle of the plate. Conversation going on with both his catcher and his shortstop.
Follow every Cardinals game through Game Connect on FoxSportsMidwest.com. As you watch the game on television, you can join the conversation about the contest on Twitter, Track Trends, and Stats. Game Connect. Find it at FoxSportsMidwest.com. 8th place hitter, Corporon, struck out first time up. Garcia struck out 3. He's allowed 6 base hits and 3 runs. Some other middle infielders that are being talked about. Adam Kennedy is with Seattle. Jamie Carroll with the Dodgers. Mentioned Clint Barmes. Talked a little bit about Felipe Lopez, who was very good with the Brewers. You might remember 2 years ago. Hit .320 for them when they picked him up in 2009. Two outs and a runner at first and an 0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Move that was made today for the Cardinals, and Dave Duncan in the bullpen. Valdez was optioned to the lefty, was optioned to AAA.
So McClellan becomes the second left-hander, essentially.
Correct.
Dan, it's with great sympathy that we pass along the news of the passing of Brenda Jorgensen. She's the wife of former Cardinal manager Mike Jorgensen. She passed away this week. Certainly have the Jorgensen family in our prayers, and the family has asked for donations to Families Rock at familiesrock.com, as they do great work for ovarian cancer research. So heavy heart for my former teammate, good friend Mike Jorgensen, and passing of his wife Brenda.
Fans may be wondering, is he still in the organization? And the answer is yes.
Special assistant to the general manager, John Mozeliak, very smart baseball man. We see him around the ballpark here, and just have a heavy heart for my friend Mike.
1-2 the count on Corporon. Cardinals have Cruz, Terrio, and Patterson coming up. This game already has come at a cost, with Punto out with an oblique injury. He's day-to-day. Sprained finger for tonight's starter behind the plate. That was Gerald Laird. One-two pitch. Pulled foul. Not by much. .59 pitches already for Garcia. You don't see that movement that you normally associate with Jaime Garcia.
No, and you get the sense that the Astros know what pitch is coming. And when the ball isn't moving, all the pitches look the same, so maybe those two comments go hand in hand.
On 1-2, the next pitch by Garcia.
I mean, that's the whole point of the effectiveness of Garcia, is having multiple pitches that do drastically different things. The curveball is sharp and slower. The sinker is fast and goes to the left. The cutter is a little bit slower than that, but goes hard to the right. The changeup, a big variance there. We haven't seen maybe enough changeups. Maybe he needs to try that pitch a little more.
Little chopper and backhanded by Descalso. The runner was going, so he was heading towards second base and makes a nice play. Big inning for Houston. They tie it up. It's 3-3. 6 is a serious number again. When the Cardinals score 6, get 25-cent drinks the next day, all day, at On the Run at Mobile. That's any 20-ounce coffee, fountain, or frozen drink for just a quarter. And we're serious at On the Run at Mobile. Libby and Grace are helping us out here in the booth. Maybe they can get some offense going too, as Tony Cruz will have his first plate appearance of the night. As we move to the Cardinals half of the fourth, it'll be Cruz, Terrio, and Patterson. You know whose 40th birthday it is today?
I do not know.
Tony Simikaitis.
He's not 40.
40 years old.
You mean the guy that used to be the bat boy for the Cardinals is 40?
Cruz loses that bat. Yes, he's done everything in this organization.
And I know he's done a lot since then from being a bat boy.
But he's now in upper management, so happy birthday. We affectionately call him Flea. But happy 40th birthday to Tony Simikaitis.
He's kind of everywhere around the ballpark, isn't he?
For anybody that comes down here, he runs essentially your game management. He's your director of what you see that is on the screen. He does sales here. And always willing to help us out. Here's the 0-1 pitch. 0-2. Cruz filling in now for Gerald Laird. Injured finger for Gerald Laird. It was on his catching hand. Two and two the count.
So essentially the Cardinals are down to Schumacher and Molina as their bench, with Lance Berkman really not available, and you've got a couple of injuries early on in this game. It really limits Tony's options.
Two and two. .65 pitches for Rodriguez tonight. You would assume the way that things are going for Garcia on a hot night, we'll see this bullpen at some point. And a new look bullpen for the Cardinals. Kyle McClellan may not like it, but being the professional that he is, he goes to the bullpen. No complaints there. He started out the season 6-1 and 1-5 in his last 8, but we know how deadly he could be in that bullpen.
I think it's a lot better that he goes to the bullpen after an outstanding start than if he had struggled maybe the last 4 starts. Then it maybe even would have felt more like a banishment. But I think now it's, look, we need you to be there because we've got a particular job for you to do. We just got rid of 2 left-handers, and we need somebody to shut the door in the 8th inning. And McClellan's a guy that's done that in the past, and you know he's got the kind of stuff to do that. And I think in some ways he throws harder and is a little nastier when he comes out of the pen than when he starts.
And that would seem to be logical, wouldn't it, Rick?
Sure.
I mean, if you're a starter, you pace yourself a little bit more, and I think a good example of that would be for fans with watching Lance Lynn. From what he's done in the minor leagues to now, the other night he hit 97 on our gun. 97. We didn't see that before.
No.
2-2 pitch. Now, one of the things that the Cardinals did do with Lance Lynn, which is, you know, you hear about it all the time, just a slight mechanical adjustment that he made at the end of last year with his shoulder and how he was planted. In the final game that he threw last year in the playoffs, he struck out 16, and they noticed that velocity was way up.
Well, I'm sure there's a pitcher's meeting going on there in AAA, and you know perhaps it was Dyer Miller as part of that. And he goes, "Look, this guy's, you know, a horse. He ought to be throwing harder. Well, where can we get that?" And maybe in some conversation, just a little bit of a tip to say maybe you're not using your leverage, you're not using your strength enough, and obviously whatever they did worked pretty well.
Barmes makes the play, and Cruz is retired. Let's turn to our trivia question tonight, presented by AT&T. who is the last player to get his 2,000th career hit while wearing a Cardinals uniform. And this happened on his way to the Hall of Fame. Nope, Bobby Bonilla. I was thinking it was going to be Lou Brock.
I'm surprised it's Bobby Bonilla.
Bobby Bonilla made a pretty wise decision to defer some money, which now has turned into a whole heck of a lot of money from the Mets. Certain things didn't happen that Mets ownership thought that might. A certain friend didn't help them out all that much, and deferred payments are starting now, and Bobby Bonilla is laughing all the way to the bank. Here's a chopper that's foul.
That was a pretty cryptic little story you just told there, Dan.
I got to read between the lines a little bit.
I figured that's where you were sending me on a little meandering path.
But I know you could catch on. A guy named Bernie Madoff didn't help.
I know who you're talking about.
Yes.
What a mess that is for the Mets, too. And the Dodgers have a mess of their own. And Houston. They don't really have the same kind of mess, but they are going in a direction of saying, we're going to get rid of all of our money right now. Anybody that is making a lot of money, we're going to start over again and see if we can get this right.
Strikeout of Terrio, and his struggles continue. If the Mets are the Mets of a couple of years ago, or even 5-10 years ago, where they have money and a new ballpark, Citi Field, you're saying one of the destination spots for Albert Pujols next year is New York. And right now, it's not even mentioned in that conversation of teams that could afford him.
You wouldn't think so.
Two outs. Here's Patterson. Big base hit back in the second inning.
I kind of missed that. Did you say Albert is a free agent? Is that what you're saying?
I am. Will be. Not now.
No.
A couple of more months. Hopefully 3.
And by that time, he'll probably be batting 300, have 30 home runs and 100 RBIs.
Picked up an RBI tonight. He's at 63. One thing you really like about the bullpen, Zubchinski, the new lefty. Those lefties only hit 159. And Dotel is really good against right-handed pitching. Not to say that he would be a specialist, but he is still a hard-throwing guy. And Zubchinski, you see right there, they say his breaking ball is really tough on the lefties. So strikeout of Corey Patterson. And that's 3 tonight for Wandy Rodriguez. His Major League Baseball record of 50 consecutive steals snapped in Montreal.
And a Vince Coleman sighting in Pittsburgh. He was there for Ben Roethlisberger's wedding. I ran into him twice in the same Starbucks 2 days in a row. He's become a golfer extraordinaire. Vince Coleman played golf for the very first time in his life in the Whitey Herzog event here in St. Louis. and got hooked and is now a scratch golfer.
Amazing how some of these former athletes never picked up a golf club before, and they take to it and they become a single-digit handicap or scratch. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Wandy Rodriguez. It's sharply to third and past David Freese.
I was just about ready to say that Rodriguez is a switch hitter that can't bat either way, but he hits a rope down the third. Ball just ate him up.
Well, it's not the sharpest game we've ever seen. I think it's safe to say that, huh? Here's Michael Bourne now back to the top of the lineup. He's 2 for 2.
I'm with you on that one, partner.
Bourne with a double and also a bunt base hit. So 2 for 2. Hitting streak has been extended to 13, and he has 28 infield hits with that great speed. Two balls and no strikes. But always a sign of a good pitcher is to pick up your teammates, and in this case, trying to pick up David Freese.
Well, not a good start picking him up, 3-0, and both Cardinal catchers are having a hard time handling Jaime Garcia. We saw Gerald Laird box a couple, and not very good form getting in front of that ball in the dirt. 3-0 on Michael Bourne. Sloppy game indeed.
3-1. And it's a walk to Bourne. So 3 strikeouts for Garcia, but he allows his first walk, and he's in trouble here in the top of the 5th. First 2 have reached, and here is Altuve. Altuve picked up the first run of the game with an RBI sac fly to center, and also grounded into a 5-4-3 double play. Runners at first and second. Outfield, at least in center, Jay, fairly shallow, and a bunt attempt here, bunted foul. All right, Rick, you're Jaime Garcia in this spot. You see he's bunting. You know the situation, first and second. As a pitcher, where do you want to put this?
You want to throw a fastball at the top of the strike zone. That is a difficult pitch to bunt. I think breaking balls are hard to bunt, too. Now, hitters will tell you different, but boy, you throw a nasty breaking ball to actually get it square and get it where you want it, just seems like it would be difficult to do. But a ball up in the zone, and you're taught as a hitter to lay the bat at the top of the zone and look right over top of the bat. So if the ball is above the bat, you take it. It's a ball. And so you're basically covering the top of the strike zone. But the pitch that's up is difficult to bunt down and do it in a way that is deadened and goes to the spot you want it to. So Garcia, high fastball, should be the pitch of choice. 0-2. Is he still bunting? I say no.
Sharply to Freese. Could be another double play. And it is. 5-4-3. Second time Altuve has hit into that 5-4-3 double play. Cardinals trying to reverse the numbers on that graphic. They make an error. They don't play all that well as far as the end result, 15-30.
That's a nice play by David Freese after making the error in this inning. sure he's happy to participate in that 5-4-3. And now I guess the star has fallen on Altuve. Now 2 double play groundouts and an error after we were getting ready to put him in the Hall of Fame.
2 outs, runner at third. Jason Bourgeois.
You like saying that, don't you? I can tell. I can tell. You're enjoying that.
Bourgeois. There's a 1-0 pitch to Bourgeois, and it's off the bag, a fair ball. And Bourgeois is on his way to second base. Touched by a fan. It's a ground rule double. Oh, you got to let him stay.
There's a break as the ball hits the bag. Usher saying, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it. Oh, didn't get to tell that guy. Oops, oops. Now I'm going to have to yell at him.
So the RBI double puts Houston on top 4-3.
Dan, when Garcia's pitching well, he is fun to watch. When he's off, he labors. And I think he's off a bit tonight. His stuff just doesn't seem to be particularly sharp, the command especially. Not the miles per hour so much as the command. And he's really laboring here. First time we've seen him labor at home in a very long time.
73 pitches tonight. He's allowed 7 base hits, 4 runs. And now Hunter Pence looks at strike 1. Pence has doubled and scored and also struck out. And really the only start I can remember where we saw him truly labor, and we've talked about it before, was in Colorado.
That was more than laboring. That was painful.
Yeah. He was left out there and took a beating. Milwaukee has beaten the Cubs. That was earlier today. So the Cardinals, as we speak, a full game back. Start of play this afternoon. They were half game out. Here's the 0-2. Freeze again, and a foul ball.
Freeze just doesn't seem right to me. It seems as if his body language is off some. He made an error in this inning, but it's not so much that. He just doesn't seem to be moving very well, and you know that he has issues with his hamstring, and he's trying to just play around it. He feels more comfortable at the plate than on the bases or defensively.
Hunter Pence, watch him reach for the bag here. That's how you get hurt.
It's exactly how Ricky Weeks got hurt.
That's right.
Hate to lose him on a foul ball right before a trade.
0-2 pitch.
Oh, my.
Pass Cruz into the backstop. Pass ball on Cruz.
Again, it looks like there was a mix-up in the signals. Cruz having a conversation with Garcia, and that's happening way too much. You know, Tony said something funny the other night. He said these players, each of them, have their own handshakes, one with another, that they remember and they can do at the drop of a dime, but they can't remember the squeeze play. He says, I don't get it. It was funny. Kyle McClellan missed the squeeze play, actually hit the ball on the ground, got an RBI.
Ground ball left side. Here's Terrio, long throw. Makes a strong throw that time and gets Hunter Pence. Run is unearned. It's Houston on top.
St. Louis, and don't forget tomorrow, Albert Pujols and the Cardinals take on the Cubs. Should be a lively atmosphere all weekend long here at the ballpark, and we'll come your way at 6:30 tomorrow. Last time we saw the Chicago Cubs, pair of walk-offs, and will that continue tomorrow? Budweiser, what's on tap, and we'll come your way at 6:30. 1 ball, 1 strike on Jaime Garcia. Garcia, Descalso, and Jay. The thing you get concerned about, Rick, is the fact now the Cardinals trail. You're in the bottom of the 5th, and Rodriguez is one of those guys that can get locked in and give you a solid 2 or 3 more innings. His pitch count at 80. Then all of a sudden you're thinking they could earn a split in this series, and that's not what you envision.
3.6 ERA coming into this game. 6 and 7. Probably pitched better than that. He's pitching on a bad ball club. He's not really a ace type pitcher, a stopper, but you have to say he's a 2 or a 3, and he has the ability certainly to get locked in, as you say, and finish the ball game.
Two and two the count on Garcia. Rodriguez thought he had strike 3. Home plate umpire shrugs his shoulders and says, "What do you want from me?" "3-2 pitch. Hit out of play."
Going to have a chance to look at the new Cardinal bullpen before this game is over. And I think it's important to note that the Astros bullpen is not particularly good. So if you get Rodriguez out of here, their closer's so-so, and their setup guy has not had a chance to set up very much.
We saw Melanson a couple of times in this series. He finished off the game last night. Here's Descalso. He took over for Nick Punto, out with a oblique issue. Those are always iffy kinds of injuries too. You never know the severity of an oblique, how long that'll take to heal. Strike right down the middle. Oh, and 2. High pop up. Barmes makes the catch. Let's turn to the Build-A-Bear Workshop Day that's coming up against the Rockies Sunday, August 14th. 12,000 fans ages 15 and under receive the bear honoring Stan the Man. And visit Cardinals.com to find out more. Terrace level seats that day. Get a free hot dog and soda, and kids after the game can run the bases Sunday, August 14th. Two outs. Here's John Jay. Picked up a double back in the 3rd. Is also grounded out to short. Off speed pitch taken high. 1 ball 1 strike with Pujols on deck. Tom Mee, our esteemed director, tells us that Colby Rasmus is 0 for 5 tonight. His debut with Toronto. There's a 1-1 pitch. Strike 2. On 1 and 2.
On the outside corner, strikeout of Jay. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Wandy Rodriguez. 4-3 as we head to the 6th. Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And for a limited time, Jack's Really Big Chicken Sandwich Combo is back for only $3.99 plus tax at participating restaurants. A nice note here from Tony Simakaitis. He is not very happy with us. Normally he'd be happy that we said happy birthday.
Why is he not happy with us?
He turned 40.
Oh. It's not our fault.
So now he's not happy with us. So if you know Tony Simakaitis, you just give him a call and wish him a big old happy 40th birthday. There's Carlos Lee as an RBI base hit. Run scored in the 4th.
I said the velocity really wasn't a problem with Jaime Garcia, but those last 2 pitches, Dan, 88 and 89 miles an hour. Not the 91, 92 we're used to seeing from Garcia.
This time of the year, sometimes you see that. Velocity will drop a little bit. It's a hot night. It's been extended in some long counts in this game. Would you agree?
I think all of those are possible factors, and then some days, just as everybody who's ever competed knows, some days you have it, some days you don't. And there's not always even an explanation for it.
"3-2 is hit out to deep left field at the track at the wall, and it's gone. It's into the bullpen. Carlos Lee on a 3-2 pitch connects with a home run. .399 feet, the measured distance of that home run. 2 RBIs for Lee. He's up to 60.
Had to come in with a strike. And Lee takes care of it. This game has a feel for more like a 10-2 Astro lead to me. It's just been kind of an ugly game. We've mentioned that. Cardinals just don't look sharp tonight. They've had a couple of injuries. Garcia has struggled. The catching has not been very good. They haven't been on the same page. All that could change, though, with some late offense.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. little surprised not to see the bullpen up and throwing after the home run. Then right after that, Johnson, and now LaRussa on the phone, but Johnson had a pitch that was up and pulled it just foul. Ground ball to Terrio. Now Barmis. Kyle McClellan unavailable tonight, may be able to pitch tomorrow if need be. One out, nobody on for Barmis. 5-3 Houston. Long way to go here for Patterson, and makes the catch, the right fielder for the Cardinals. So 2 outs, nobody on, and it brings in Corporon, who is 0 for 2. Struck out and grounded out.
Corporon's numbers from the right side are better, but he has a better swing from the left side.
2-0 pitch, 3-0. Four straight, and he walked him, and it brings in Wandy Rodriguez. Here's what you're talking about, Rick, the inconsistency of Garcia tonight. Gives up the home run. Next two quick outs. Then 4 straight pitches to the 8th place hitter and a walk.
You'd have to believe that this is his last batter.
Right-hander up and throwing in the Cardinal bullpen. Octavio Dotel. Dotel has been a closer. Last few years he's bounced around. He's 37. But I ask you, Rick, right now, even at the age of 37, is he still with a new team get a little butterflies going, some excitement?
Oh, yeah. You're going to get amped up a little bit. You want to show everybody you still have a good arm, so you're going to try to throw a little bit harder, which sometimes actually works against you. But you want to make a good first impression.
Wandy Rodriguez towards second. Oh, what a play. Daniel Descalso. Descalso, remarkable play at second base. come. Hey, Rick, do you remember any trades that the deadline that put one of your teams over the top? And I'm thinking 1985.
Oh, you bet. Cardinals in 1985 got Cesar Cedeno, who really finished in big fashion, batting over 400 for the 85 team and really got us to the World Series. Dan Dreesen was a nice pickup in 1987. Didn't quite have the same kind of numbers, but really kind of filled a great void with some injuries that club had. 85
team was so much fun from a fan's perspective to watch, and then when you added Cedeno and he had some of those big home runs, hits down the stretch, just one of those magical years. Servicemen and women here at the ballpark. He's got to be hot.
But he's not going to show it.
Nope. As tough as they come. I thank them for their service. There's Albert Pujols, 2 hits shy of 2,000. Pair of hits tonight. Pair of doubles, 2 for 2. RBI that was in the 3rd inning. Average up to 278 now. Pujols hits a rocket down the left field line, but foul. Two and two.
That one hung too much.
Really an odd swing that you don't see Pujols take like that very often.
Or he just swung at a curveball that didn't curve.
Right. 2-2 pitch. Struck him out. Holiday 0 for 1 with a walk, digs in. Will that be it for Garcia? Pitch count right around 100. Oh, and 2.
Zepchinski also throwing in the Cardinal bullpen, but he is now taking a seat, so I wonder if they might bring out Garcia just for one batter, the left-hander Michael Bourne leading it off. He's back throwing again now. I'd like to see him pitch the whole inning too. I don't know that I want to see him just come in and face Michael Bourne. Let him throw the whole inning. You mentioned how low American League was batting against him. Give him a shot to pitch more.
Holiday shoots it into right center field, but Pence makes the catch. Two outs, and here's David Freese. I know you've been impressed with the way that Pence has played all series long.
He's a great player. He is just a little bit unorthodox, Dan. Doesn't really do anything smoothly, does he?
Running, throwing, hitting.
What I've always said about Pence is he looks like a great athlete in a different sport playing baseball. You can tell he's athletic. He just doesn't look comfortable in a uniform.
But he gets the job done, no doubt.
Sure does.
One ball, one strike on David Freese. Two outs, nobody on. 2 balls and 2 strikes on David Freese. Here's a ground ball to Altuve. Strikeout, a fly out, ground out. Big bats of the Cardinals, Pujols, Holiday, and Freese. We head to the 7th. Baseball, the Cubs and Cardinals begins at 3 only on Fox, and check local listings for the game in your area. We should remind our fans that Sunday is a night game to accommodate national TV as well. So if you have tickets, it's a night game this Sunday. Zubchinski, get our first look at the lefty, takes over. Our Chevy call to the pen. Descalso moves from second to third. Schumacher is in the ball game at second base. Zubchinski this season with Toronto, 2.97 ERA. But the thing to look at really, Rick, is what he did against those lefties, and they hit under 160 against him.
Yeah, and that's the value he's going to bring to the Cardinal bullpen, and they have desperately needed that for at least 2 months. They really, we love Trevor Miller, and he has done great work, or had done great work with the Cardinals earlier, but clearly it was not his year, and I hope he could kind of turn it around with the Chicago White Sox. But the Cardinals needed an answer, and they needed one quickly. And here's a guy that's in the middle of a good year, and we hope it translates over here in the National League. Some pretty good hitters over in that American League, by the way, batting from the left side, that he handled pretty well.
I think it's going to be interesting, too, to watch Rasmus compete in the American League East, which is arguably the best division in baseball. One ball, one strike. Michael Bourne. Big night for him. Double, single, stolen base, run scored, a walk. I've seen in the past that if you're effective, Tony La Russa, there's that nasty breaking ball, will use you time and again. You don't have to worry about staying sharp. When you think about Steve Klein and how much he was used, even Trevor Miller when he was right. 2-2.
I think Tony's really developed a pretty good system of getting guys loose and then getting them in the game, and very rarely getting them up 2, 3, 4 times in a game to be loose just in case. I think he wants to make sure that guys, once they get loose, they end up in the ball game, even if it's just to a hitter or two.
There's a strikeout. That's how Zubchinski starts his Cardinals career.
I like it.
Get that late movement on the breaking ball. You can see that just in this at bat.
It was sharp. Late break. Board just waves at it.
And you being a bullpen guy for a good portion of your career, you can understand and appreciate getting guys up, getting them ready to throw, and making sure you don't waste that time. Patterson makes the catch and right.
Well, you can end up throwing 3 innings and not even get in the ballgame. You throw so many pitches getting loose for a particular hitter. Really, the communication with Duncan and La Russa and with Derek Lilliquist in the Cardinal bullpen is, I want this guy for this batter in this particular situation, and if that communication's sharp, then you won't waste a lot of pitches out in the bullpen.
Garcia tonight, 6 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 strikeouts, walked 2, gave up a home run, 2 sacrifices. One-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Good late movement, too, away from the righty. You see Zubchinski, what he's done against left-handers, and then what the Cardinals lefties had done outside of this appearance tonight.
The slugging percentage, 203. That means not only doesn't he give up very many hits, but not very many extra base hits along with it, keeping them all at the ballpark.
1-1 pitch. Also, another facet of the deal is that Zubchinski is a guy that is under the Cardinals' control for a number of years.
He's also started some in the past. That's not his job right now. We'll worry about that later, but it's an option down the road.
2-2. Sure, he's had a few sleepless nights the last week or two.
I was just thinking about, I wonder how many hours he's slept per night in the last week.
And probably for
3?
the remainder, yeah. There's a check swing, and he went. Good debut with a pair of strikeouts. Time to stretch. Cardinals on top. Featured Jason Mott. For details and future player appearances, just log on to the Cardinals website at cardinals.com/promotions. It's out in the Ford Plaza tomorrow, and again for all 3 games against Chicago. Good seats still remain here at Busch Stadium. And Wandy Rodriguez dealing to Tony Cruz.
Great way to handle an ugly game and to forget about it quickly is to score 3 runs in the last 3 innings and win it. And you forget how ugly it was.
Just move to the series starting tomorrow night.
Exactly.
Now the Cardinals, regardless of what happens tonight, are dealing with some injuries. Farmas charges and makes the play. But you've got Cruz filling in for Laird. Punto is out.
Makes you think about Alan Craig, who's on a rehab assignment, and Tony La Russa said he's really not close to being ready. They're getting him some at bats. You wonder, would they rush him here? Right-handed bat, playing some second base in Memphis. It's an option.
One ball, one strike.
Terrio 0 for his last 13.
Reached on an air and struck out tonight.
"11 straight for Rodriguez. You talked about him settling down, Dan, and that's exactly what he's done. 113 the pitch count. Probably his last inning.
At the knees. Breaking ball that's lifted down the right field line and fouled. Popped up off the bat of Terrio. His struggles will continue tonight. Barmas makes the play, and there's 2 outs.
Cardinal fans who haven't seen Corey Patterson play in a while, he brings occasional power. He had 6 home runs in his stint in the American League this year, and he also still runs well. 13 stolen bases, although he got caught stealing here tonight.
Off Rodriguez, and a close play at first, and that sends us to the 8th. 5-3 Houston. story developing. Wandy Rodriguez, 7 innings and an earned run. Albert Pujols, pair of hits, 2 away from 2,000 in his career. And Carlos Lee with 2 RBIs, home run. He's up to 60 this year. 3 behind Pujols. Zipchinski, his 2nd inning of work. Impressive debut thus far. He struck out 2 in the 1st inning. Had a 1-2-3 inning.
I think it's interesting he's out there for a 2nd inning with nothing but right-handers in sight. So Tony La Russa not necessarily thinking of him as a guy that's going to be a lefty specialist and that's it. He's had success against both left-handers and right-handers, although you pointed out the batting average against left-handers has been remarkable.
Hunter Pence. Rips it into right center field. That'll get down and extra bases. Heads to second base. $38,794 in attendance tonight. And right now they're quite disappointed with the Cardinals being out hit 8-5 and trailing 5-3. And here's Lee. And here's the situation we talked about before with first base open. Lee got to Garcia. Last at bat with a home run.
And the difference from the earlier situation is that the Cardinals at the time were ahead in the game. Now they're behind. So you can be a little bit more defensive now and say we're just going to try to get the double play and maybe be careful with Lee. Didn't like walking Lee with first base open with a lead. I would be okay with it here.
0-1 pitch. 0-2. Jammed him. It's popped up. Cruz will give it a look, and it's out of play. Lee tonight called out on strikes, first time up. RBI single and a run scored in the 4th, and a solo home run to lead off the 6th. Here's the 0-2. Outside, 1-2. Nice note here from Therese Washburn. Wants to say hi to family and friends watching in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Therese Washburn. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Carlos Lee. Got him to chase. It's a strikeout. 3rd of the night for the lefty. Runner at second base, nobody out. Big strikeout here for the lefty.
Good movement, late movement. Good sink. Way off the plate, but must be some deception in the delivery of Zipchinski because Carlos Lee is a guy that has very good plate awareness and very rarely strikes out. That was not a good swing.
Johnson takes a ball up and away. Grounded to short. Flied out to left, but picked up an RBI. Grounded to short again. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Late swing.
Kind of a three-quarter delivery. Arm drags a little bit. Reminds me a little bit of Jeff Francis. Brian Fuentes maybe another one where the arm just kind of comes from way behind. Maybe I'm thinking more Fuentes than Francis. Just kind of a dragging arm in a sense, but it still finishes strong. Hard to pick up.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Johnson. Strike two. Fuentes was the one that really defined the kind of motion that you talked about in my mind.
Yeah, and Cardinals coveted him for a while.
Sure did, and then he signed with the Angels, and could this be another injury?
Oh boy.
Vulnerable position right there for Tony Cruz. We'll see if he stays in this game.
Cruz has walked away from Barry Weinberg, but he's still staying out on the field. He wants to see Tony Cruz throw a baseball. Cardinals still have Yadier Molina on the bench. Now Tony La Russa wants to get the rest of the story.
Big happy birthday to Justin Peacock. Justin Peacock, birthday today, and helping us out here in the booth. Barry Weinberg with the tip of the finger. Who knows, Rick?
It doesn't look like he's going to stay in this game. Joe Patini going to find Yadier Molina. There he is. I see him.
So that's it for Cruz, and the second catcher has been lost tonight. And Yadi will pop out very soon after he stretches a little bit.
And a birthday wish to Abby Shockey from Litchfield, Illinois, celebrating her 8th birthday today. Happy birthday, Abby. Thanks for watching Cardinals baseball. All right, no more injuries.
We've seen enough. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
And there are some parts you wouldn't want to disseminate.
You're saying it's an ugly game?
Certain parts.
Certain parts. Time is called. Runner at second base. 1 ball and 2 strikes here on Johnson with 1 out. Zipchinski with 3 strikeouts so far.
You like saying that too, don't you?
Just like bourgeois. Well, who's been the primary catcher down in Memphis if that's where the Cardinals have to go?
I hope we're not really thinking about that, are we?
If you're John Mozeliak right now, it's probably in the back of your mind. You're also concerned about Nick Punto.
Yeah.
Oblique issue. But the biggest concern is Berkman, who did have a cortisone shot in his shoulder a couple of days ago. One ball and 2 strikes.
Stephen Hill, Brian Anderson, 2 catchers we've seen in the big leagues before.
There's another strikeout. This guy has been impressive here in his Cardinal debut. That's 4 strikeouts. The 6th that he's seen.
He's shown that he knows how to finish off hitters. Gets ahead, and then he's got a strikeout pitch to go with it. We saw that from Eduardo Sanchez early on. And really all the injuries, Dan, I still come back to him. I mean, how much different would things have been in the last month if you've got a healthy Eduardo Sanchez?
Big difference. Brian Anderson has appeared in 72 games in the minor leagues. He's hitting .276, 246 at bats. Another catcher is Nick Durba. Only appeared in 11 games, so you'd have to look at your 40-man roster and exactly what guys are there and available. Stephen Hill right now has been listed as a DH, but only played in 6 games. Here's Clint Barmas, 1 ball, 1 strike. It's turned into a long inning. You wonder if Wandy Rodriguez returns. One and 2 on Barmas. Taps it foul again. Hit down the left field line, but pulled foul.
One of the issues the Cardinals may have if both catchers are hurt beyond just today, and we hope maybe it's just a minor thing and they'll be back and they'll be fine soon, but if not, you may have an issue that the catchers we're talking about aren't on the 40-man roster, which presents a different problem. Already a lot of transition and change going on for this Cardinal club. Now you've got both catchers having to leave the game due to injury. Yadier Molina doesn't get the day off everybody wanted him to have. And I'm sure the wheels are turning in that particular suite.
1 and 2 the count. The next by Zepchinski. In the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Spoiled again by Barmas. 2-2. Here's a ground ball to the right side. Backing up Schumacher makes the play, and that sends us to the bottom of the 8th, and it's 5-3. Baseball is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, the just right taste of Bud Light with a refreshing splash of 100% natural lime flavor. By Bank of America, where ATM deposits are as easy as an infield fly. No deposit slip, no envelope with Bank of America. Member FDIC. And by AT&T. Steamy hot night here in St. Louis. Cardinals at least get Wandy Rodriguez out of this game, and it's our Chevy call to the pen. It's Escalona. Rick, we were talking earlier in the series, at times Brad Mills could have gone to him. He did not.
They really don't trust him. The numbers aren't bad. The earned run average is good. They're just not using him very often. Only 19 innings out of the bullpen and 35 appearances, and just don't think they really trust him late in games, but they're giving him the opportunity here in the 8th. A lot of Cardinal left-handers in the lineup now because of the injuries, including Skip Schumacher.
So he'll lead it off. He's in the 9th spot in the lineup. First pitch is a strike. 3 for 9 in this series, hitting .283 overall. But Zubchinski in his debut tonight, very impressive, Rick. 4 strikeouts.
Leadoff double in the 8th inning to Hunter Pence, but he stranded him there by picking up strikeouts of Lee and Johnson. And he really shows that he has a good finishing pitch. Nice, short, sharp slider.
And just like with John Jay, Michael Bourne is in and playing Schumacher opposite way. 2 balls and 1 strike.
You may not trust Escalona, but if you can't have him come in to pitch to Schumacher, Descalso, and Jay, all 3 left-handers in the 8th inning, why have it?
Right. Here's a ground ball. Barmes has to be quick. 1 away. Brings in Daniel Descalso, who's now filling in for Punto. Descalso had to come in. Punto left with a strained oblique. And then Daniel moved over to third base. Give David Freese a little time. Hope that Punto is okay. We've seen how good his defense is. And Descalso made a dazzling play earlier tonight. A little pop-up into shallow right center field, and just an unbelievable catch. 1-0 pitch to Daniel. 2 balls and no strikes. June, 1.23 ERA, but in July, you're Brad Mills, you see those numbers, you wonder, can I trust him? 2-1. Before this game is through, you'll have to still go through Pujols and Holiday. So Daniel Descalso with one of the top defensive plays of the night. What a great catch.
Comes in and has an impact. Always have to be ready as a bench player. Can't just assume you're going to have the night off and kind of lose focus. It'd be easy, Dan, real easy. And I've seen it happen for players to become spectators of a game in which they are actively a part of, because you just assume you're not going to be in. Catcher gets a foul tip off his finger. All of a sudden, you're behind the plate with a runner in scoring position. You're Tony Cruz. You didn't expect to be there, but right away you're there. And if you're not ready, then bad things happen. Performance is low.
Up the middle. Barmes. 2 outs. John Jay with our Nissan drive of the game, and this was back in the second inning, or rather the third inning, a double that Bourne really didn't take a very good route to, and John Jay winds up at second.
Right hand contusion for Tony Cruz is the official word. Status day to day.
Jay trying to bunt his way on and bring up Pujols that would represent the tying run. Wandy Rodriguez, 7 innings, 5 hits, struck out 6, pitched around a couple of errors, 1 walk, 3 runs, 2 unearned. 116 pitches on the night. John Jay in the hole, 0-2. Good work by Escalona. Sends us to the 9th, and it's 5-3. Cardinals live on Fox Sports Midwest. Al will be part of the post-game show. Al Raboski with Pat Paris, and that's coming up following our final out. It's 5-3 Houston as we move to the top of the 9th. Debut of Octavio Dotel wearing a Cardinal uniform. Zipchinski, good debut with 2 scoreless innings, 4 strikeouts, and now, as fans are cooling off, a chance to get a look at Dotel.
That's a wonderful way to meet women at the ballpark.
Five to 3. And a strike, and Houston knows Dotel quite well from his days with the Astros. 13th year over 100 saves and a record of 51-44. Remember Rick, he used to be flat out nasty.
Oh yeah.
Ground ball to short. Oh, what?
I think the real key piece of this trade that the Cardinals have just made is really the left-hander that we saw. Outstanding outing for Zipchinski, 2 solid innings, 4 strikeouts, but Dotel could be a big part as well to help solidify the bullpen, and we're going to see a third part of that deal tomorrow in the starting pitcher, Mr. Jackson.
Concern for Dotel has been against lefties. Very good against right-handed pitching. Lefties, though, at times have had their way with them this year. 2 outs. Brett Wallace retired, and here's Bourne. Michael Bourne is 2 for 3. Scalzo, the third baseman, playing in. 2 outs, nobody on.
Back to the big picture, Dan. A lot of Cardinal folks talking about this homestand, thinking that 6-1 not out of the question with the Astros and then the Cubs, and Cardinals with a loss yesterday. You might say, okay, well, you're going to lose at least 1 game in a homestand, but these are teams you need to beat. You got a chance to give yourself some distance between the Brewers and the Pirates, and maybe these are the teams you can beat up on, but the Astros kept fighting.
2-0 pitch to Bourne. 3-0.
If you split with the Astros, it's a disappointment.
Without a doubt. Catches the outside corner, 3-1. And Bourne is aboard. Cardinals trailing 5-3. Punto and Laird left because of injury. Don't know the extent of how serious that is. You'll hear about it on the post-game show. Jose Altuve with 2 outs and a runner at first.
You've already mentioned it, Dan, but the Cardinals have just the hitters coming up in the bottom of the 9th that you'd want. Middle of the order, Albert Pujols, Matt Holliday.
Dotel's spot. We assume that Berkman is unavailable tonight.
Then who's going to bat?
Yeah. I mean, that's the guy you got to look at, but yet do you want to take that chance? That sore shoulder.
So we have the possibility here of having 2 outs, nobody on, bottom of the 9th inning, and a pitcher batting. And that's not a managing problem for Tony La Russa. That's guys getting injured. 3 in 1 game.
You wonder, though, if the mindset of Tony has completely changed after the injuries, and he says to Lance Berkman, look, we went with every way we could not to use you tonight, but we have to.
Well, you can escape it and escape the dilemma if both runners get on base, and then you can have a pitcher bunt. Then it's not a problem. Then you bring in one of your starting pitchers who's the best bunter. Might be Kyle Loesch.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. 1-2.
Funny to say, but Chris Carpenter's probably swinging the bat the best of any Cardinal starter right now.
I agree.
Now, if you had Adam Wainwright healthy, wouldn't be an issue.
A lot of times you look towards Loesch. Loesch was running in the ball game last night. Here's a 1-2. Pulled foul. Altuve, sac fly, RBI, pair of ground outs, both of those resulting into a double play. He also lined out.
In case you're wondering, Edwin Jackson's career batting average, the new Cardinal, 139, with one career home run.
2-2 pitch from Dotel. Patterson. Pujols leads it off when we come back. As we move to the bottom of the ninth, this is John Jay, safe at home, safe and secure, New York Life.
All right, here we go. Just the guys you want up. 5-3, bottom of the ninth. And the closer for the Astros, Mark Melancon.
Remember, Rick, he threw a lot of pitches yesterday.
Sure did. It was not an easy outing for him. He walked the first batter he faced, then gave up a base hit to David Freese. Was finally able to get out of it. He also struck out Albert Pujols in that inning.
And a nasty slider at the very end of the game to end it. Probably his best pitch of that inning.
9th save of the season for Melancon.
pitches for Melanson last 7 days. See, last night he had 19, Monday at 20. There's Berkman. There's our answer.
Much rather see that than Chris Carpenter bat. No offense, Chris.
The Cardinals with only 5 hits tonight. Pujols has 2 of those, a pair of doubles. It's just been a sloppy game any way you look at it. Injuries tonight for the Cardinals. Laird, Punto, Cruz. And Pujols is jammed, and that's out number 1. Big out there. Pence will give it a look. It's out of play. Holiday is struck out. He's walked and also flied out to right. Said it a million times, when you don't hit, you look flat. And this certainly has not been one of those games that's been awe-inspiring from the Cardinals.
Sure hasn't. You know that great saying, all's well that ends well. The Cardinals can make it end well. There'll be no lingering worries other than the injury issues. Nick Punto was taken from the game, as was Tony Cruz, Gerald Laird. And we just hope all the reports will be good tomorrow.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Holiday hits it to the right side. Bobble just a bit. Melanson is there. Steps on the bag. 2 away. Wandy Rodriguez is our Budweiser player of the game. And the Cardinals will pull back Lance Berkman with nobody on. And the final hope is Kyle Loesch.
And I'm not really surprised by this move. If Lance Berkman is injured enough where you don't want to risk it being aggravated and missing a few more days, and you do not have the tying run at the plate, it's awkward to bring in a pitcher in this situation, but I think it makes sense.
I guess you're hoping to buy Berkman one more night,
right,
and get him back in there tomorrow. But what a uninspiring performance tonight from the Cardinals. No other way to put it, with the Cardinals committing an error. Only 5 base hits. 1 point. Rodriguez set down 11.
I could give you something to be inspired about. The work of the relievers. The new guys did a nice job.
3 scoreless innings. Zabczynski really good. 4 strikeouts in his 2 innings of work. But as you mentioned before, Ricky, you know, you're dealing with a team right now that in Houston comes in with only 34 wins. Pennant Chase, this is a team at home with over 35,000 here tonight. You would hope you come out and take 3 of 4.
You have to pin it a little bit on Jaime Garcia. He wasn't very sharp. We're not afraid to give him credit when he deserves it, and he has earned a lot of credit this year, but he was not very good tonight.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Backhanded by Lee. This should do it, and it does. Houston earns a split in this series.
As you mentioned, Dan, not much good to talk about tonight other than the relievers. Houston earns the split. Cardinals will now face the Chicago Cubs, and now it feels like a sweep is almost necessary.
All right, they'll dial it up tomorrow. We'll come your way at 6:30 with our pregame show. Postgame show comes your way next.